In this problem, we would like to find the future value of several different cash flows. Let's say we want to find the future value 7 years from today of the following 4 different cash flows. $200 in year 1, $100 in year 2, $500 in year 3, and $300 in year 4. We also know that the appropriate interest rate is 20% per year. Let's first see what's going on here. Let's start with this timeline and mark year 0, which is today. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 5, 6, and year 7. Year 7 is where we want to be. Now let's mark our cash flows. $200, $100 in year 2, then $500 in year 3, and $300 in year 4. And we want to find their combined future value here. Now, what exactly is going on here? Are we spending this money or are we receiving this money? You know, it doesn't matter. You can look at it either way. For example, maybe you're spending it. Maybe you put these 4 different amounts in the next 4 years in your bank account, and then the money will be sitting there and earning a 20% interest every year. And so 7 years from today, you will find out how much you will have total with all the interest that all 4 of these amounts will earn over the time. Or maybe you can look at it as 4 different amounts that you receive in the next 4 years. Let's say a friend of yours will be giving these amounts of money to you, but as a compensation, your friend tells you that for every year that you delay giving me those amounts of money back, I will charge you 20% interest. So it doesn't matter whether these are cash inflows or cash outflows. So how are we going to approach it? Well, let's break it into individual cash flows. So the first $200 will stay in the account. Let's say we deposit these amounts, right? It will stay in the account for how many years? For 6 years. So we need to find the future value in 6 years. Then the next $100 will stay in the account between end of year 2 and end of year 7, which means 5 years. So we need to find its future value in 5 years. Then $500, our third cash flow, will be earning interest over 4 years, between year 3 and year 7. So we need to find the future value in 4 years. And then the last amount of money, $300, will stay in the account and earn interest over 3 years. So we need to find its future value in 3 years. Let's bring up the financial calculator. Turn it on. Let's calculate the future value of the first cash flow on our timeline, $200. What will it be 6 years later? $200 negative is our present value, PV button. The interest rate is 20%. I press 20 IY. We want to find the future value after 6 years. I press 6 N, and what I want to calculate is the future value. Compute FV. So I get $597.20. Now let's do that for the second cash flow. Okay, let's clear everything. Second, reset, enter. $100 negative PV, same interest rate, 20%, 20 IY. We want the future value after 5 years, 5 N, and we are computing the future value, $248.83. $48.83. Now we want to find the future value after 4 years of $500. So let's speed it up a little bit. Clear. 500 negative is our present value, PV. 20 is our interest rate, 20 IY. 4 years for our N. 4N, compute FV. $1,036.80. $1,036.80. And finally, the fourth future value for the last cash flow, $300 cash flow. Let's clear. 300 negative PV, 20 IY. If you want it 3 years in the future, so 3N, compute future value. $518.40. $518.40. And then we need to add all of them up, add up, which becomes the total future value in year 7. And when we do that, when we add these 4 future values up, we get $2,401.23. You can double check in the calculator, in any calculator, regular one would be fine. Okay, this is the answer. Now let me show you one more way you could do it, which would save you a lot of time. I've been telling my students that you have to find individual future values and then combine them, and that's the only way. Well, technically, you could use a slightly different method. You could find the present value of the first one, the present value of the second cash flow, the present value of the third cash flow, the present value of the fourth one. Then add them up. So that would be what? That would be the total present value. How can we do this in the calculator? Let's bring it up. When we want to find the present value of multiple cash flows, the easiest way to do it is using what is called the cash flow keys. Press the button cash flow. Cash flow 0, we leave it at 0 because there's nothing going on in year 0. I press enter and the down arrow key. Then cash flow 01, the first cash flow in the future, that's $200. I press 200, enter, down. Frequency of it is 1, and we want to leave it at 1 because we don't have additional $200 consecutively in the future years. So I press the down arrow key again. Cash flow 02, $100. I enter that, 100, enter, down, and down again. Then 500, enter, down, and down again. And finally 300, enter, down, and down again. Now I press NPV. I change the interest rate to 20%. I press 20, enter, down, and compute. $670.14. $670.14. What does it mean? Clearly, this is not the same thing as the future value of our 4 cash flows that we found earlier, and it should not be equal to that. What we need to do next is find the future value of this number after 7 years. Then find the future value after 7 years. Okay, let's do that. Let's clear. We had $670.14. Set it to a negative value. Save it as your PV, because now we are treating it as a single cash flow, which needs to be brought into the future. The interest rate is 20%, 20 IY. We want to bring it 7 years into the future, and so I press 7N, and what I want to calculate is the future value. Compute FV. And you see how we get the same exact answer. How many steps did we need? Here, only 2 steps. The cash flow keys and then the future value, instead of 4 individual future value and then their summation, which would be the 5th step. So let me write this down. $2,401.23, which is exactly the same answer we got when we used the first method.